Hey everybody, quick update. For today, I'm going to begin working on the mini bike. So, as per usual, this engine has no spark. I believe this is a 2 horsepower engine instead of the usual 3 horsepower. They look very similar. If we take a look at this one, you can see they look pretty much the same. But one of the deciding factors, if you look on there's a model number on the side of the engine, and it's a 6, and the 3 horsepower engines are the 8. So that tells me that this is probably a 2 horsepower engine, as well as the fact that it doesn't have a 3/4 inch shaft. It has a 5/8 shaft, which is the smaller shaft. So, anyhow, this engine actually looks really nice and clean. I'm just going to take off the cover and do my thing with the points, and I'm going to see if I can get it to start. Okay, so I guess I should kind of explain to you guys how, if you don't have spark on a Briggs & Stratton engine, how you can get it fixed. It's pretty simple. These engines are, the design is pretty simple and basic, but it's rugged. They'll last for a while. So I'm going to take you through a couple steps and show you how to get this fixed. So as you can see, I got the flywheel shroud off, and now I've exposed the flywheel. So next is to get these 2 or 4 bolts, whatever, depending on your engine. Take these off, and then this screen will pop off. Okay, now this next part is going to get a little tricky. What you have to do is this hub, this is the starting mechanism here. This twists off, but as you can see, it's obviously not any type of normal bolt, obviously. So I'm going to show you how you can finagle this with some tools you have laying around to get this off. Alright, what I have here, a nice big pair of pliers and a nice big long crowbar. You can use a big screwdriver or something that's just a long rod, even something like that. So basically all we want to do, we want to find these are aluminum fins here. Do not put this crowbar in these aluminum fins because they will break. These 2 fins right next to the aluminum ones, they're much thicker, so we'll stick this right in here. Alright, now next step, let's get our big pair of pliers. Of course, I can't do it in one shot. Now, of course, this one had to be stubborn with me. So sometimes what I like to do is just a piece of rod and a hammer, and you hammer right on this boss here, and it'll start to Alright, I got it now. Okay, next step. This is equally difficult. So what we're going to do is we have to get this flywheel off. Now this is kind of press fitted on, since it has a tapered edge on here and it's pushed on, so that keeps this flywheel stuck on here pretty well. So my method to get this off, put a screwdriver right behind here, put a little bit of pressure, and just start tapping a little bit, turn it, there you have it. Okay, next thing to take off is your points cover. 2 1/4 inch bolts are all that hold you back. So, okay, so here is the points. This little can down here is a condenser, and this right here is your moving points arm. Now, as this shaft spins, there's an eccentric in here, and there's a little shaft that comes up. and it'll make this arm pop up and down a bunch of times as your engine is running. So, and there's a little wire that runs the back and runs up to your coil up here. So, what's wrong, what's usually wrong 95% of the time, is the contact area of the points is so dirty that it doesn't make enough connection to make spark. So what we need to do, there's a bolt here and a bolt here. We're going to take those off and we're going to take the points and put them on the workbench. Okay, here's my condenser, and if you look at the top, it is black, very dirty, and the same goes for the points. The points aren't over here, very dirty. So this is definitely what is wrong with the ignition system. So if you're doing this, here's a guide. Every time you don't have spark, check your points first. If you clean your points up and you still have no spark, you can replace the condenser, which is this guy here. If this does not fix your problem, then it's your coil. I've worked on dozens of Briggs & Stratton engines, and I've only had a coil go bad once. So it does not happen often. So like I say, I'm gonna bring out a file and file this down nice and flat and smooth and get it all shiny, and this should run just fine. Okay, I got myself a fine file here. I'm just gonna take this top edge of the condenser and just do some of that till it gets clean. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this points arm. Okay, I have the two contact points cleaned up. The next step is to set the gap between the points. Pretty standard procedure. Just get a feeler gauge. I think these are 20 thousandths. I usually just eyeball them and I get lucky most of the times. But just keep this bolt hand tight. Then put your feeler gauge in between there for the desired clearance and tighten it up and you're good to go. So, once you've adjusted your points, put everything back together up until the flywheel and test and see if you have any spark. So, mine works just fine. Yours should as well. These are pretty simple engines and they don't take much to run. A little bit of gas, a little bit of air, and a little bit of spark is all they need. Alright, I got some gas in the tank. I'm going to see if I can get this to start. Maybe not. Got some other interesting sounds going on. Okay, so part of this flywheel shroud was bent on the side here and was rubbing up against the flywheel, so that was what that weird noise was. So, okay, I got the spark plug hooked up and everything. Got gas going into the carburetor, so this should start right up. Cool. So there you have it, folks. Alright, I hope you guys learned something. I sure always do. These engines are full of surprises, but usually they're pretty easy and simple to get running again. So, thanks for watching, everybody, and stay tuned for next time.